In the words of several drivers here participating here in tonight's Canadian E-Motorsports Network event, this is going to be like Talladega on steroids. If there's nothing else that gets you excited, I don't know what else there will be. This is round number 7 of 16 on the 2024 Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue calendar. We are in the virtual Brooklyn, Michigan, for once again, round number 7 of 16 for the Greg Moore Cup. This is round number 3 of 8 for the AJ Foyt Cup, the Oval Championship here in Season 3 of the IndyCar Series, the Fort River 200 at the virtual Michigan International Speedway. On the call here tonight, as per usual, or at least the same case as what we had a couple weeks back at our last AJ Foyt Cup race at Pocono Raceway. On the call for tonight, the voice you're hearing right now from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, been here since 2022. It is Regan McCauley. Unfortunately, Jordy Carraher, my fellow color commentator since the very beginning, is not with us for tonight's race. He's dealing with some personal matters in his own life, priorities that definitely take over this, so hope the best, obviously, with him, and we hope to have him back next week, of course, at Road America. But so, with all that being said, before we get into all the action that we shall anticipate here tonight at the virtual Michigan International Speedway, let's go back 1 week prior to last Tuesday, where we went to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in virtual Montreal, Quebec, Canada for the first time in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series, and this guy just doesn't stop. This guy straight up just won't stop. He is undefeated in the Mario Andretti Cup. He is now 4 for 4. He has won every single race on the road and street courses here so far in Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. The driver out of Fishers, Indiana, USA for 499 Racing, rookie Bradley Sexton. I remember saying back at the first race of the season where he made quite the first big impression with his first career win at Barber. And then the very next race at Long Beach, he goes on to lead every single lap. He made a statement. I don't know how much more I could say or describe more than just say making a statement. He is clearly putting his intentions in to contend for at least 2 championships here for sure in Season 3 of the IndyCar Series. We'll have to wait and see on the AJ Foyt Cup. Obviously, he is a couple of positions down compared to being in first place in both the season-long points and also the Mario Andretti Cup points. But yes, Bradley Sexton going to victory lane once again for the 4th time here this season through 6 races thus far. We have Charlie Sears, his teammate and the reigning series champion, number 32, Charlie Sears, rounding out second in the top 2 there. Jared Ireland, number 13, finishing on the podium in what I believe was his 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe his 4th start of the season. He's become more so part-time and more prevalent on the road and street courses, and he's been very solid for what he's been able to do thus far. Andy Hertel, Jordan Kalenian rounding at the top 5, Bryce Fontaine, William Kern, Kyle Knoll, Darcy Ford, Jason Heaney. The rest of the board goes on from there. There were multiple drivers that did have to deal with some misfortune throughout the race. Finishing in the 16th and final position was the number 17 in McCauley Racing's Corbin McCauley. 24 laps down, he crashed hard into the wall. I believe it was in turn number 9 of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve 100 presented by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Hunter Young, 17 laps down. He wound up not being able to finish the race after an incident with Darcy Ford, also in the same areas where McCauley had his crash and DNF. So 16 drivers participated in round 6 of 16 on Tuesday, October 15th last week. Drivers like Jose Mercado, Daniel Cudmore, Stephen Ellis, Jonathan Swainson did not participate, but it looks as though most of those guys and some of those other DNS drivers, including Jason Butler, Justin Belmonte, will be here with us tonight for this first annual Forked River 200 at Michigan International Speedway. But that's enough of the race results. Now let's move on to the championship point standings, or in other words, the Greg Moore Cup standings, where at the moment Bradley Sexton leads the way by 76 points over fellow first-year IndyCar Series driver and the reigning NASCAR Series Rookie of the Year, Jordan Kalenian. Charlie Sears in 3rd place, just a couple points back. We have a tie for 4th in between Andy Hertel and William Kern. A couple of little notable facts after 6 rounds here so far in terms of the overall points. I mentioned Sexton's points lead. 3 of the top 5 drivers in these season-long points are all first-year IndyCar drivers, so certainly this first year kind of a core is really showing itself off here early on in Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. Now, the thing is, though, it's kind of hard to say early at this point, considering we're literally just like a week or so away from being halfway, or getting to halfway through the season. So there's been all these weeks now where we've been saying, it's early, there's still some time for the season to go on, but now we're starting to get to that point where now things are going to start to really, truly matter, and you're going to have to be at your all-time best. And like drivers can't wait around, you really got to be at your best. We're starting to get to that point very closely, but Kalenian Sears separated by 5 points for second, then it's 17-0-24, goes on from there. I mentioned the tie, of course. Sexton has a whopping 16 bonus points if you count the overall points. The next best is 5 by Kern. That's just how good Sexton's been. Sexton has finished worse than third only once after 6 rounds, and he's qualified only worse than fourth just once. The bubble between first and fifth at the moment is 98 points. That's very different compared to what we have with the oval and the road and street course championships that we also have simultaneously going on. 10 of these 23 drivers here who have made a start this season have raced all 6 rounds so far. Only 10 of them have. But yeah, that's the Greg Moore Cup points there for you. Now let's move on to the AJ Foyt Cup points where, man, oh man, it's quite the different story here. A completely different top 3 where we have the driver of the number 31, William Kern, with 1 win on the season. The most recent winner back at the Side Launch Brewing Co. 250 at Pocono Raceway on October 8th. He leads the points by 21 over Andy Hertel. Both of the races so far in the Oval Championship have ended under caution in the closing laps due to incidents. As it was back at Texas, it was like 3 laps to go. There was like a 3-lap shootout. Andy Hertel, Corbin McCauley, just about side-by-side, coming off of turn number 2. Caution comes out for an incident in turn number 1, and Hertel just barely beats McCauley at the moment of caution. And then at Pocono Raceway, it was an all-out war between a couple of drivers throughout the race, and then in the closing laps, it came down to Stephen Ellis and William Kern. And again, we had that late caution, and Kern was just barely ahead of Ellis to get the job done for his first career win in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network and the IndyCar Series. Kern and Ellis are currently the only drivers to have gotten poles so far in oval races at the moment. So, yeah, again, the points are still relatively close here for the oval races. I mean, again, we are only 2 rounds in. We're just getting now to round 3, and it should be noted whenever we quickly go over the schedule that the second half of the schedule is going to be more prevalent on the ovals compared to the road and street courses because we're already 4 rounds into the Mario Andretti Cup. So with all that being said, let's now move on to the Nations Cup points where, professionally speaking, the United States has a very large lead over Canada, obviously. I mean, 1,102 compared to 677. The most unprofessional way to put it is I'd say one country in here is for sure dead. And so with all that being said, let's go on to now the Rookie of the Year points, where it continues to be all Bradley Sexton and Jordan Kalenian up front. William Kern trying his damnedest to catch up to Kalenian to battle for that second spot. Bryce Fontaine is a decent distance away from Kern there in 4th place, but still could try to get within the mix here when the second half of the season starts to approach. Again, his luck has been very up and down. We're back on the ovals here, so unfortunately Fontaine's luck on the ovals has been a very different story compared to the road and street courses, so maybe 3rd time's the charm. Maybe he's going to work his way around Michigan in better fashion, although he is the driver. I believe he was, according to somebody, he was the driver that specifically said that tonight could be like Talladega on steroids. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. Jason Heaney, Stephen Ellis, Justin Belmonte, Trevor Binns. Of course, for Stephen Ellis, he's only running for the Oval Championship this season, so Rookie of the Year exactly not really going to be in his favor. I mean, you just look at all the points differences and everything after round 6-16, but obviously, though, regardless of that, he is still putting on a hell of a show in every single oval race thus far here in Season 3 of the IndyCar Series. But that's all there is to recap from last week at the virtual Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We now move on here to the schedule and move on to tonight's action at the virtual Michigan International Speedway for the Fork River 200, round number 7. It's going to be 100 laps, 200 miles, right back to the regular oval qualifying format, the best of 2 laps. Obviously, no previous winner because this is the first time we're going here for the IndyCar Series. We have had plenty of NASCAR races here, though, and a bit of a fun fact with that is that we only have one driver in tonight's field that has won at Michigan before in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network, and that is Corbin McCauley, the 2023 Wing Snob 200, Season 4 of the NASCAR Series, powered by... Actually, no, it wasn't powered by anybody. The Wingstop 200 on June 6th. That's when he got the job done there. So we're going to see if he can maybe try to bring that over to the IndyCar side and maybe try to turn around a little bit of the bad luck that he's been kind of going up and down with here so far this season in the IndyCar Series. We're going to have some little scenic shots here of the virtual Michigan International Speedway, located once again in Brooklyn, Michigan. We're about a minute away here from qualifying, where every driver's going to go out and complete their 2 laps, and the best lap is obviously where it's going to put them on the board overall here. And then we're going to introduce the starting lineup on pit road so that these guys don't have to keep going around and around with extra pace laps. We want to get right to the racing, and we might as well introduce them right on pit road like we have the past couple of races. They're right there, right in your view. They're not moving. It's going to be golden. I believe they'll be angled on pit road too, so it'll be a fantastic angle for them. But right back to describing the Michigan International Speedway. It's hosted NASCAR racing since 1969 with a few hiatuses. It hosted IndyCar racing between 1968 and 2007. Hosted kart racing between 1973 and 1986. Also hosted a race or two in 1996. Course 4 turns, 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers. It's a D-shaped oval that's been in operation since 1968. We got 18 degrees of banking here at Michigan, 12 degrees on the front stretch and 5 degrees on the back stretch. And yeah, when I say 18 degrees of banking, man, oh man, are these corners at Michigan ever wide. I've been getting reports that some packs here during this practice session that just came to an end here, there's been some 4 and 5 wide racing. That's how wide this track is. It's pretty much almost like, again, as I said earlier, it might be like, as the driver said earlier, it might be like Talladega. Straight up like that. Pretty much everybody is going to be pretty much together in a single pack for this entire race, and I'm telling you, incidents are going to be inevitable. I mean, again, at Texas and Pocono, we saw a lot of close racing, a lot of intense bumper-to-bumper action, but the drivers actually were able to make it through pretty solidly for the most part up until maybe the second half of Texas, for example. That's when the chaos really started to begin there. But again, lots of room for fast speeds, drafting, pack racing. Reminder, obviously, no push to pass. Tire compounds, there's only going to be one. Obviously, the primaries just on the ovals. But yes, of course, we've hosted multiple NASCAR races here in the past, never an IndyCar race. So tonight's certainly going to be interesting for how it's all going to play out, especially with the AJ Foyt Cup points. For the season-long points, maybe around the middle to the bottom end of the points, we might see a lot of shifting and a lot of maneuvering. But for the oval points, it's certainly going to be interesting. Between first and fifth, there is a 30-point bubble. Where, again, Kern leading the way by 21 points, Ellis 23 back, and then Sexton and Kalenian are tied for 4th place at 30 back behind William Kern. So if we see any massive maneuvering, it's certainly going to be in the AJ Foyt Cup standings. There's no doubt about that. But yes, as I said earlier, Bradley Sexton obviously has been undefeated on the road and street courses, but for the past 2 oval races that we've had a different winner every single time, with Andy Hertel claiming his first IndyCar Series win since Season 1, William Kern going to victory lane for the first time in his career. Are we going to see yet another different winner? Could Sexton, as I was saying, could he possibly finally kind of transition that luck over, that dominance over to the oval side and finally claim a victory with just the left turning circuits rather than just the left and the right? Could Hertel go back to victory lane? Could Kern? Could other drivers like Darcy Ford, maybe Corbin McCauley, C.D. Magram, Bryce Fontaine? This straight up could be a race where anybody's going to win it. Straight up. We could have half the field gone at any given point. It's inevitable. We'll just have to wait and see. And as this qualifying is going on here, I can see that there are 16, 17, 18, 19 cars that are going to participate here tonight and do battle for the first annual Forked River 200 win. And man, oh man, the quality of this field and the parity in it and the gaps right now are absolutely insane. For right at this second, the 16 drivers that had put up a lap so far, 3/10 is the separation between first and 16th. I believe it was maybe 7 or 8/10 during practice. Again, though, practice is that's a whole different beast right there because you're going to have a whole bunch of drivers that are going to get into their own packs and see how that's going to go. Some drivers decide to stay individual and just run their own little laps on their own. So it kind of goes a little bit back and forth there, but when it comes to qualifying, everybody's on their own. So that really plays a whole lot out differently here at the virtual Michigan International Speedway. But we have a minute left here, a minute and 15 seconds left in this qualifying session. And when we introduce this starting grid, the parity between each position is going to be absolutely wild. There are a bunch of top dogs all over the place. There are some underdogs up towards the top. Like, this is not the field that we had back at Texas. I believe it was a full 23-car field that we had there, or somewhere close to that. It's not a full field like that. But man, oh man, when we see these 19 cars here together, I'm sure some of them towards the back or some maybe in the middle are going to try to pull back, kind of stay away from the potential carnage. But that many cars together, man, oh man, is tonight ever going to be a doozy here in the Forked River 200. So half a minute to go in qualifying. Only one car has not put up a time, and just knowing who that driver is, if they don't put up a lap, it would not surprise me whatsoever. But as we quickly here approach the end of this qualifying session, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. Feel free to leave a comment in our live chat. Tell us who you're cheering on, where you're cheering from. Already got Brad Sexton making a couple of comments in there, so that's fun. But again, let us know where you're tuned in from, who you're cheering on, who you think is going to get the win here tonight at the virtual Michigan International Speedway. Who of these 19 cars and stars here of iRacing's open wheel action, the Dollar IR18s, is going to get the job done? We have, I'm assuming that's Ty Higginbottom cheering on CD Magram, Tornado Alley E-Racing, of course. So yeah, Ty Higginbottom is not with us tonight. He's got some work priorities, so hopefully we'll see him back at Road America next week or Mid-Ohio the week after, whatever it may be. Yes, sir, it is Ty Higginbottom, the number 97 driver out of Kansas City, Missouri. So, if you're able to watch this whole thing, not able to race, then hopefully you're in for a whale of a show. And it looks as though everybody here is lined up on pit road, and this is where we're going to introduce each and every one of the cars and stars of the 2024 Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. And now it's going to be a matter of finding an angle where we're going to be able to actually see these cars. In a way, I think this might be the best one. But with all that being said, let's introduce each and one of these 19 drivers. They're going to do battle here for 100 laps and 200 miles at the virtual Michigan International Speedway, starting on the front row. Man, oh man, we haven't seen these names up towards the top of the board, so hopefully they'll try to make a name for themselves here tonight. Starting on the pole is the driver of the number 1 Dollar IRA team for Tornado Alley E-Racing in Atlanta, Georgia. That is CD Magram. Alongside him, starting in second place, is the driver of the number 9 First Gear Racing Car of Altoona, Wisconsin. That is Jason Heaney. Moving on to row number 2, we have the driver of the number 21 499 Racing Car at Fishers, Indiana, undefeated in the Mario Andretti Cup, looking for his first oval win here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. That is Bradley Sexton. And then we have a previous oval winner here this season in the number 7 for 519E Racing at Daytona, Ohio. Winner at Texas Motor Speedway looking for his second win in the AJ Foyt Cup. That is Andy Hertel. Rounding out the top 5 in row number 3 is the driver of the number 17 Macaulay Racing car to Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, looking for his first win of the season and first win since last season. That's the number 17, Corbin Macaulay. Alongside him in 6th place, rounding out row number 3, is the driver of the number 41 GTR Motorsports car to Kissimmee, Florida. That is Jose Mercado. Starting in 7th on row number 4 is the driver of the number 22 Hyperdrive Esports Laverne, Tennessee car, looking to join his teammate as a fellow oval winner here this season. That is Bryce Fontaine. In 8th place is the driver of the number 13 Central Flyaway Racing car to Colby, Kansas. That is Jared Ireland. And then we have the most recent oval race winner here this season in the IndyCar Series. The number 31 Hyperdrive Esports car out of Dansville, New York is driven by William Kern. And rounding out the top 10 here on row number 5 is the driver of the number 77 GTR Motorsports car to St. Catharines, Ontario, looking for his first win on the season. That is Hunter Young. Just outside the top 10 here on row number 6 is a pair of drivers for 519E Racing. On the inside is the driver of the number 10 car to London, Ontario. That is Jason Butler. Alongside him is the driver that was the championship runner-up back in Season 1. The number 64 car to Harrington, Prince Edward Island is Darcy Ford. Starting in 13th on row number 7 is the driver of the 00 car to Salisbury, North Carolina. He is second in the overall points. That is your reigning NASCAR Series Rookie of the Year, Jordan Kalenian. In 14th place on the outside is the driver in the number 15 Storm Surge Esports car to Middlesex, North Carolina. It is Kyle Knoll. And now in 15th place, looking for some redemption after just falling short of his first career win back at Pocono Raceway, the driver of the number 46 car for 499 Racing out of Mississauga, Ontario. Welcome back, Stephen Ellis. It's an all 499 racing row here on row number 8. The driver alongside him is the number 32 driver out of Charlottesville, Virginia, the reigning IndyCar Series champion, looking for his first win of the season. That is Charlie Sears. Row number 9 has the driver of the number 80 car, First Gear Racing, Pefferlaw, Ontario. Driving that one is Mark Ouellette. Alongside him, driving the number 12 car to Thunder Bay, Ontario, is Mike Marini. Rounding out the field, welcome back to this man, a former owner and founder of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network, driving the number 2 Winston Racing Group car to Stanchel, Prince Edward Island. That is Daniel Cudmore. And that rounds out the field here of the 19 cars and stars that are going to go for the win here in this first annual Fork River 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Round 7 of 16 for the Greg Moore Cup and round 3 of 8 for the AJ Foyt Cup Oval Championship. And so I'm going to go into iRacing voice chat here, give these guys a quick speech, and send them off. Tell the most famous words in motorsports. Got these engines fired up for 100 laps and 200 miles at Michigan International Speedway. Stay tuned. And so the engines have been fired up here at the virtual Michigan International Speedway on pit road, and they're going to roll off here and get ready for 100 laps and 200 miles in the first annual Forked River 200. 19 of iRacing's best open-wheel drivers in the Dallara IR18s are going to go at it here. And we're going to find out who is going to indeed survive the chaos that we are going to experience and witness here around the 4 wide corners of this facility in Brooklyn, Michigan. And so for the race analysis here, of course, 100 laps and 200 miles. Pit road speed is 55 miles per hour. The fuel window is about 35 to 37 laps. We could see 2 fuel windows. Again, that's really, I believe that's only if we... That's if we manage to have 2 green flag fuel window. If we manage to have 2 green flag pit windows, then I think that's what that means. Anyways, of course, we're only on the primary tire compound since we're on the ovals. Full course yellows are on. Friendly reminder, if we do have a caution before the white flag, the race is over. If we have a caution on the final lap, then it is a race back. Race remains green. Again, the last 2 oval races have ended under caution within the closing lap, so maybe the 3rd time's the charm. We can finally have a finish for the ages, and we can make it back to the checkered flag in some capacity. And so, pace car rolls off on a pit road, 100 laps, 200 miles, Michigan International Speedway, the first annual Forked River 200 is underway. Already here, 3 wide for the lead at the line, completing lap number 1. And I believe by just barely, it was CD Magram on the inside that led that one. But would you look at that? The driver undefeated in the Mario Andretti Cup to the lead. The number 21 of Bradley Sexton. It's kind of a decent distance between some of these guys here throughout this 19-car field. Between first and last is 4 seconds at the moment, but only a second separating the top 10. We are double file from first to sixth. It's Corbin McCauley versus Bradley Sexton here for the lead. Just passing lap number 2. 3 wide on the outside. That is the 31 of William Kern looking for his second win of the season. And again, the most recent winner on the ovals. A bunch of maneuvering back here as well. Jordan Kalenian, Hunter Young battling it out there for the 10th position. 3 wide with Charlie Sears. He started all the way back in 16th. He is well making his way up. Sexton about had the lead cleared right there, but then McCauley and Kern right back up to the outside now on lap number 4. Sexton led that lap. Might be 3 wide in about 2 or 3 different places throughout this field. At the moment, everybody's starting to kind of close back together, about 1.5 seconds separated between 1st and 17th. Would you look at this? You can pretty much put a blanket over the entire top 10. Coming to the line, I believe Sexton led that lap. And now the one joke I made with all these guys here in the iRacing voice chat before they got the engines fired up, was try to not reenact a Dario Franchitti, which I believe that was a 2000s crash, if my memory serves correctly, where there was tire-to-tire contact, and then I believe a wheelie happened. Just anarchy. Terrifying crash. Enough said. So if you know what that means, if you know what I'm talking about, then hopefully we don't see that tonight. But no, it would not be surprising whatsoever if we just do so happen to have a car flip out of the track, completely out of the ballpark. Cara McCauley leading the way. He just barely dove down underneath. I believe it was Kalenian there in turns 1 and 2 back on the other side. At the line, McCauley's going to barely lead the way over the driver that was his rival for the most part back in the recent season of the NASCAR Series. William Kern back within the mix. And man, oh man, Kalenian had started all the way back in 13th, and now he is up here in the top 5, going for the win. Nice to see Jason Butler up here. Wonder if he might try to make a 4 wide at some point, but everybody kind of went back into their own little positions right there. Back to 3 wide for the lead. Bryce Fontaine looking to make his way into the picture here. His oval luck has been absolutely abysmal so far this season, to put it bluntly. So finally looking to come away with a solid finish here at Michigan. It was an incident between him and Charlie Sears back at Pocono Raceway a couple weeks back, where Sears hit his right rear tire, ramped up it, and ended up ramping and driving right along the fence off of turn 3, or what, turn 4. But it is lead change after lead change, and cars all over the place here at Michigan International Speedway. Now it's lap number 9 of 100. Side by side down the back straightaway, 17 versus 31 and 22. All the way up on the high side, that is Stephen Ellis, driver of the number 46 daily face-off car for 499 Racing. He fell just short of his first career victory back at the Pocono Raceway, losing to William Kern. What a duel that was in the closing laps before we had that late caution. Riding on board back here with the number 13 of Jared Ireland, Boot Hill Distillery, I believe that is, for Central Flyaway Racing. But I believe things have calmed down just a tiny bit. Again, I say tiny bit. Take that with a grain of salt. As I say that, they're 3 wide for the lead, but there's a little bit of separation there and behind them, just a little. As they roar down the back straightaway, 3 wide for the lead. Could they try to go 4 wide almost? Jason Butler up high, but Fontaine dropped back in behind Kern and McCauley. As this race is really flying by, this very well could be under an hour. As it's about 2 seconds or so separated between 1st and 17th. And then Daniel Cudmore, Mike Marini are staying way out of this carnage back in 18th and 19th, 5.5 seconds back. I think there might have been wall contact out of the number 10 of Jason Butler. I could have been wrong there. But he certainly got close up there when he was trying to really utilize that high side. But they continue to duke it out for the top position now on lap number 13 of 100. And what a sight this is. Photogenic. It's everything. And for McCauley, too, on the oval side of things, he just fell short of the victory back at Texas against Andy Hertel with that late caution, as I was talking about earlier. And then he didn't even make it. He wasn't able to make it to Pocono, unfortunately, so. Trying to make something happen here, especially after crashing at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve last week. Man, lots of close action there between the top 3. Now on lap 15, McCauley and Kern refuse to get off of each other for the top spot. McCauley on the inside, Kern in the middle. Fontaine trying to use that high side run with Jason Heaney in behind him. And just the ever so slight bit of contact out of any of these guys is going to certainly create a chain reaction throughout this entire field. Again, only 2 seconds separated between 1st and 17th, now on lap 16. It'll be interesting to see if these guys can make it to that first pit window. Again, 35 to 37 laps are in that range. We're very quickly approaching that. But if we look at the race summary, we've had only really 3 lead changes and 3 different leaders at the moment. Jordan Kalenian has the fastest lap so far with a 32.174 on lap 3. He right now is back in 6th. He is on the high line. Fontaine trying to make it once again 3 wide down the so-called front stretch. Bit of an angle to it. Of course, being D-shaped. The D-shaped oval that is Michigan International Speedway. McCauley has refused to get off of right on the edge of that white line on the inside all around this speedway. It's almost pretty much like they're stuck permanently to their lanes. They refuse to give up anywhere, and there's, man, oh man, is Kern ever making it close right there along the right side of that number 17 Dallara IR18. Kalenian trying to get into the picture here to potentially make it 4 wide, but not enough momentum. As Kern dives in behind McCauley, and then goes back to the high side, or the middle, I should say. Keeping it real close. But what a spectacle that is. What a sight. And of all these guys back here, as I believe Andy Hertel might have had a bit of a ghost moment. As he was about damn near dropping down the entire leaderboard there from about 10th. And again, considering these guys are pretty much going full throttle, they're not letting off the accelerator whatsoever. There's not really much excessive tire wear around this track. It's just straight up, you go at it, you're turning at full speeds, you're staying on the throttle. There's no braking unless, quite frankly, you're up close with somebody or if there was an accident. So we'll see what these guys still decide to do when we eventually get to the green flag pit window. McCauley might have almost gotten a bit wiggly there along the white line. Kern was making it tight from the middle. Fontaine looking to make it 3 wide once again on the high line. Jason Heaney, Jordan Kalenian, Charlie Sears continue to follow him back. Stephen Ellis as well. So that's 2 499 racing cars there inside the top 10. Now make it 3 as Sexton just made his way into 10th. So a bit of a quiet run here so far from on paper the top team here in Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. But again, the time to shine isn't just yet. It's still, quote-unquote, very early. Kern right about having his left front right on the right rear of the 17. Almost stole a lap lead there from the 17, but McCauley hangs on. But really, that inside has been the winning line so far, especially through the corners. You really see that momentum come from the middle and the high lines on the straightaways. But McCauley knows that in the corners, he has been able to utilize that inside line perfectly. But the thing is, if it's the final lap and it comes down to that point, the runs off the corner might end up killing that. Now 23 laps in, we're on lap 24. There's a lot of guys preferring to stay on the high side, stay in that draft. While a couple of these guys here up front are kind of being a little bit diverse with their lanes. But yes, indeed, we're pretty much witnessing something like Daytona or Talladega or the new Atlanta here at Michigan. That's just what the Dollar IR18 offers. That's the racing product it offers here on iRacing's Michigan International Speedway. Someone almost had a moment there in the middle of the pack, but we keep going. We're approaching lap 26, so about 10 laps or so away here from this first pit window. Or fuel window, I should say. Oh, there's a car in the grass. That's Jason Butler. Down the front stretch, he's going to keep it straight, slows down. About. Had a scary moment there, but he keeps it going. But he has dropped all the way back to 17th. He is almost 8 seconds back of this lead pack. And man, oh man, I'd love to go back and get a replay, but at the same time, I'd love to stay on this racing, because at any given point, somebody is going to have something bad happen to them. And old man Fontaine really keeping it close there to Kern, just like Kern is to McCauley. They're ever so close to making a 4 wide for the lead, but it's just not been able to happen. I just have to be patient on that end until we get into the closing laps of this first annual Forked River 200. McCauley still has been able to lead every single lap here for quite some time. Still going at it 3 wide for the lead. 2 drivers looking for their first win of the season. 1 looking for back-to-back, at least on the ovals. Jason Heaney sneaking right in behind McCauley on the inside. What a storyline that would be if he were able to go to victory lane here for the first time in his Canadian E-Motorsports Network career. Solid driver back in the recent 5th season of NASCAR racing. Had a couple flashes of brilliance. On the open wheel side, he's been alright. I think a couple of top 10 finishes. Oh my goodness, man. If they try to go 5 wide at some point, then ugh. The angles are really deceiving, I'll put it that way. So Jason Butler might be joined eventually here by Daniel Cudmore and Mike Marini, who are staying in their own little 2-car draft. 10 seconds back of this lead pack. Is, man, a lot of tight racing for the 2nd to 3rd, 4th positions in behind Kern and McCauley. Now it's lap 30. As Kyle Nolan and Jared Ireland are going at it there for 7th. Stephen Ellison behind them. Andy Hertel, Bradley, Sexton going at it for 10th. That's 2 winners this season. Hertel back at Texas. Sexton again on all 4 of the road and street courses that we've had thus far. That'd be Barber, Long Beach, Zandvoort, and Montreal. Next week we're going to be at Road America. Actually, yeah, the next 2 weeks are going to be back to Mario Andretti Cup competition with races at Road America Mid-Ohio. And then right after Mid-Ohio, we are going to have qualifying for the Indianapolis 500 the week after. Yeah, the 500, that will be the week after. So the intensity is certainly going to ramp up within the next couple of weeks as we approach the second half here of this 3rd season of IndyCar racing in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network. And man, oh man, the action here is going to continue to intensify as we are beyond the first quarter of this 100-lap race. Continues to be McCauley and Kern going at it, just a couple of laps away from this first fuel window. Again, estimated fuel window. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. Again, drivers love to implement their own strategies and such. But I mean, of course, everybody's going to get back. I imagine everybody's going to get back within of each other in the same pack. I think the most delusional take is that maybe we'll find a way to try and go green all the way. As I'm talking about all that, Fontaine just about took the lead there on the outside. Look at Jason Heaney going to the high side now. McCauley leading that lap. Fontaine and Heaney have been trying with all their might to make it nearly 4 wide for the lead, at least consistently 4 wide, but they just have not been able to. Now single file top 2, 3 wide for third. That's Charlie Sears on the inside. Fontaine in the middle. Sears got tight. He had to drop back. McCauley and Kern might have had something happen there. I think it was Kern particularly. As he goes right back up to the middle there. Might have actually, maybe he dropped back in behind to try and get a good run there. Either that or something did happen. But anyways, these two are right back to side by side. And I believe what happened there and with Charlie Sears certainly caused these guys to kind of drift apart from each other. But no doubt that these runs on these wide corners and long straightaways are going to put them back close within each other. But as I say that too, we are starting to approach this first pit window. Assuming that it is going to be a green flag pit window. Again, anything could happen here within the next couple of laps or literally at any point here tonight. A hello to Tom Janikowski, who's watching tonight's live production. Great to have you here along with Ty Higginbottom. Also got Evan Thorpe. And here we go. We have our first choices here for pit road. Corbin McCauley and Jordan Kalenian are going to make their way down. The top 2 drivers from last season in the NASCAR Series. One a champion, the other a runner-up and the Rookie of the Year on pit road. Both guys are going to go for tires and fuel. As a couple more guys are going to come down. That is, oh man, Bryce Fontaine had a very awkward entry there. That's both of the Hyperdrive E sports cars. A very close call out of the number 22. And I believe, I can't tell who that other car is. That would be Daniel Cudmore down pit road. There's a pack that continues to go at it on the racetrack. Jason Heaney leading the charge, or it's actually him and Charlie Sears side by side. With Kyle Knoll, Darcy Ford, Jared Ireland in back. So a couple of these guys are now having the opportunity here to lead a couple of laps just before they go down pit road eventually. Again, Sears started all the way back in 16th. So nice to see him having made his way all the way to the top as Jason Heaney goes to pit road. He also had an awkward entry. Oh, man, and he hit a couple of, invisible bumps there or something? He got some air. And of all the places to catch air, I was not expecting the pit road entrance. Oh, man, Jose Mercado and Charlie Sears about got close there. C.D. Magram, the pole sitter, has regained the lead. Here comes Stephen Ellis to pit road. Jason Heaney is in there, as I was saying. Mark Ouellette down pit road. Back on the racing surface, it is C.D. Magram, Charlie Sears, Jose Mercado, your top 3. Ooh, Mercado with an aggressive move there to get in between Sears and Kyle Knoll. Jared Ireland making a run all the way up high, all the way around Sears for a second. Or maybe for the lead, as multiple cars are going to come down pit road. Hunter Young almost with yet another messed up entry there, but he keeps it going just fine. A little bit of smoke coming out of the tires. So again, with all of these guys coming in at different times, different packs and such, it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic of how everybody's going to get back together here, as we are starting to approach the halfway point of the first annual Forked River 200. As leading that lap is Jared Ireland, head of Sears. Oh, contact down the front stretch. 3 wide now. Is Bradley Sexton getting into the mix? Or, sorry, I think that might be a lap car. That is Corbin McCauley. So we have 3 cars left to still go down pit road, and they're all going to come down this time by Sears, Ireland, and Sexton. Make their way down. Ireland almost down a little too quickly there in behind Sears. Was able to break it in just fine. But after these 3 guys, that's going to wrap it up for this first pit window. As Corbin McCauley leads the way ahead of these guys here starting to get back within each other here in this pack to catch the number 17. And that would be 2.5 seconds between the 17 and the 31 as Ireland, Sears, and Sexton all make their way off the pit road. They're going to rejoin this pack here eventually. But it looks like successful pit stops from everyone. Except, I think, Fontaine and Heaney. They had almost 50-second pit stop times, so I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, they incurred some speeding penalties. Or something catastrophic. But as McCauley leads the way by about 2.5 seconds or so over William Kern, there's a bunch of these guys here from 2nd to 9th, almost about 12th. They're going to try and make their way up to McCauley here eventually, maybe within about the next 10, 15 laps or so. As now, lap 46, 5 laps away from halfway through the first annual Forked River 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Mark Flood in here cheering on Sidney Magram. Good to see you here once again. Got over 20 viewers watching history in the making here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indycar Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. There's a couple different packs throughout this field. There's about 4 cars back here. That'd be Ouellette, Ford. I cannot tell who the others are. Butler, Marini, and Cudmore together. And since we are approaching the halfway points here of the Forked River 200, we'd like to shout out and thank each and every one of our sponsors and partners that are associated with us. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be out here every single Tuesday night and putting on a show here, along with the 19 of some of iRacing's best open-wheel drivers here on the Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. So, Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, the series title sponsor, Rampage Coffee Co., Piping Kettle Soup, Forked River Brewing Company, and of course, Forked River being the title sponsor of tonight's event. Bangerang Hard Seltzer, Nordic Aluminum, GSGSG Vinyl 3D, GTR, and of course, providing these outstanding broadcast camera angles that you're seeing, that you see out of each and every one of our live productions here on the Canadian E-Motorsports Network YouTube channel. With the iRacing service, TrackCams22.com. Thank you very much for really helping us since last year to really enhance and improve the quality of our broadcasts here, especially too with being able to be on the iRacing service. Ever since that transition, things have only gotten better here within the network. So once again, thank you very much to them and everybody else that's associated with the Canadian E-Motorsports Network. So we are now approaching officially halfway through tonight's race with Corbin McCauley leading the way by, again, 2.5 seconds over William Kern. It's actually funny enough, the distance has been starting to slightly extend itself, even though the 17 is on its own, and then everybody else back here kind of in a pack. Kind of. As Kern and Kalenian are going at it for the second position. So far on the ovals, Kalenian has finishes of 12th and 5th. I believe he crashed out back at Texas, and then at Pocono he was able to come away with a podium finish. So, looking to continue that momentum on from the last oval race, and maybe perhaps come on out again to victory lane here in this first annual Forked River 200. Jose Mercado trying to find a way to get past these guys here. Yes, now, as I was saying earlier, it's kind of a pack. Now we're starting to get a full pack of these guys here from 2nd to 12th. Macaulay just getting off of turn number 2 now, as these guys back here now just getting off of turn number 2. So a couple of side-by-side battles down the back straightaway. It's Kern versus Kalenian, still for 2nd place. CD Magram, your pole sitter tonight, in 4th. He's looking for his first career win here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. Has multiple on the NASCAR side. Jose Mercado also looking for a first win. Charlie Sears, of course, your reigning IndyCar Series champion, still has yet to pick up a win this season. Wouldn't necessarily call it a championship slump per se, as again, last year was his first year in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network and his first season. In the first half, he did get a couple wins, but he wasn't anything compared to Dylan Baum, who won, I think, 3 of the first 4 races. But then in the second half, he really turned things around and shot away from the field and ultimately claimed the Season 2 championship, the Greg Moore Cup. But through 6 rounds here so far this season, he still has yet to go to victory lane. He's had solid finishes. Again, his finishes overall this season so far have been 2nd, 16th, 6th, 2nd, 8th, and 2nd. So a couple of podium finishes in there, a top 10, and then 16th at one point. Of course, back at Long Beach, he did crash out early as, man, oh man, Kern and Kalenian were really close there exiting turn number 2. Hertel and Sexton going at it for 8th. Single file, about 4 cars behind Kern and Kalenian. Steven Ellis, Andy. Yeah, Hertel falling back in behind here. Ellis getting ahead, Kyle Knoll as well. Bit of a pack back there between Fontaine, Heaney, I believe Darcy Ford's in there. Kern has cleared the way for 2nd place as Sears and Kalenian were going at it there for 3rd. The 32 jumps ahead. But man, oh man, that gap between Macaulay and Kern is staying relatively the same. Over 2.5 seconds. 2.7, almost 2.8. This pack hasn't been able to catch up. So I don't know if it's going to take the next pit window or if it's going to take a caution to rack everybody back up. 17 cars are on the lead lap. Fontaine and Heaney are both a lap down. So I'd say right now they'd be in a battle to see. Again, if there is a lucky dog rule, again, I keep forgetting that, then whoever's in front will take advantage of that. But anyways, now on lap 60, 41 laps to go. These guys keep going at it, 2nd on back. And then if we were to get an angle from Macaulay, you could barely see it there in the distance. Everybody behind him. As Kalenian's going to go the inside of Kern and take the second place position away with a slide down to the inside. They're starting to pull away as, oh boy, Andy Hertel goes around at the pit entrance just past the barrels. He goes for a couple of bounces. He's going to get it back going. No caution. We stay green. So finally, we're going to be able to see a replay of something. So Hertel is in behind Ellis going into 3 and 4. He's way down the inside. And yeah, just lost it. But disappeared for a second there. Ran over the apparently invisible cone. Took a couple of bounces over some bumps just beyond the barrels. He's back on track, a lap down now as McCauley's gotten past him. Kalenian and Kern still duking it out for the runner-up position. Kern more successful there on the middle line. And judging off whenever I took a screenshot of the starting grid here for tonight's race, that was at Atlantic time. It was 9 o'clock. Now it's 9:41. Or that'd be 8 o'clock and then 8:41 p.m. Eastern. So it's been about 40 minutes or so since I took that screenshot. So I'd say it's been about probably 35 minutes or so since we first dropped the green flag. So this is certainly flying by. If this thing were able to make it through under an hour, then wow, that'd be quite the accomplishment. As the gap now starting to slowly decrease between McCauley and Kern. Now, it went from 2.5 seconds to 2. Kern's starting to increase the gap between him and Kalenian as they are really going at it from third on back. McCauley just ahead of Hertel, who is looking to get back here on the lead lap, using that run there from in behind on the inside. He goes up high, now on lap 66. As Sexton and Knoll look to be going at it back there. Jose Mercado dives underneath Knoll through turns 1 and 2. But it's a battle to get back on the lead lap between McCauley there, or for Hertel, excuse me, trying to get ahead of McCauley. And then Kalenian versus Kern in behind. Now it's under 1.5 seconds between McCauley and the rest of the field here. Again, maybe do take into account that McCauley has now reached a stint of 30 laps since he last pitted. Kern's at 29, Kalenian at 30, but then fourth on back is 23, 23, 25, so on and so forth. So actually maybe that doesn't play a factor, but anyways. Here comes the rest of the field here, approaching McCauley and Hertel. Kalenian to the inside for second. Kern barely hangs on at the line. But man, oh man, look at this from the rear end of, or the gearbox of the number 17 McCauley Racing IR18. They are approaching him fast. As Kern takes the slide up the track, might have gotten a little bit tight there as Kalenian's going to get kind of a run there up high. So they're going to get past Hertel, who's trying to get back on the lead lap, and then McCauley on the inside. Look at this, Kern up high, almost 3 wide. Very close against Hertel. Hertel to the inside of McCauley down the backstretch, trying to use his line to get back on the lead lap, and he is going to. Macaulay squeezes in between him and Kern. Almost contact. Oh, Macaulay's going to go around. Into the wall. And we stay green. Very, very awkward situation there. Macaulay trying to squeeze in between Hertel and Kern, and then there was some sort of contact. And it sent the 17 right around. So you see Hertel there to the inside using Macaulay's favored line throughout this entire race. Gets in between, gets hit from behind by Kern, who actually lost the right front end of that front wing. And then Macaulay goes around left front tire into the inside wall. There might have been some damage there too. Looks like something came off. Macaulay down pit road. But this is pretty much right at the green flag pit window, so don't know if that would necessarily be any saving grace for Macaulay, but again, there's still plenty of racing left here. We have 29 laps to go. As it's Jared Ireland to the lead. Hertel just beyond them. Oh man, Hertel! Bit of a moment there on the front stretch. He goes to the apron, lets everybody get by. Another close call ahead of the number 7. But it's Ireland versus Kern and Sears for the lead here as these guys are starting to approach this next pit window. We'll see if this one will be under the green flag. But Macaulay dropping 2 laps down now. So I can only imagine there that there is a damage situation after, again, getting into the inside wall from the grass. Yet again. Another potential win for Macaulay, or a great finish, whatever it might have been, gets away from him. But right back onto the racing surface as these guys going at it is Will Kern. Will make his way down pit road for this next window. He is at a 36 lap stint since he last pitted. Yeah, Kalenian, Marini down pit road as well. I think Kalenian might have made his way down before I'd seen that or something like that. Unsure of what happened there, but we progress forward. As man, oh man, is it getting foggy here at Michigan. We haven't looked at the weather info tab yet. Partly cloudy skies. Sure, we'll put it that way. 23 degrees is the track temperature, Celsius. Humidity is almost 100%. That's wild. 26, 27 kilometers per hour wind speed. That's weather for you. Jason Butler just coming off of pit road. So Macaulay's still in. Mark Goulet, Jason Heaney, and Mike Marini down pit road. I believe Marini actually coming back down. So he's 2 laps down. Oh, caution's out. Andy Hertel had something happen off of turn number 2. And finally, something to do with Hertel finally results in a caution. That is going to change everything here. Again, we'll have to go back and look at a replay here to see what happened to finally cause iRacing to finally automatically put out a caution. So we'll see if it's this time around. So in the middle, in front of Hunter Young. And just loses it. And he never fully... a little. I'm guessing that's because it was kind of on the racing surface. It was a lot closer compared to pit road, but that is a little baffling. Especially what happened to Macaulay, too. Again, if it's a full spin thing, almost a full spin thing or whatever, you got to be almost fully spun around. If that's what triggers the service to throw at the yellow, then sure, but again, iRacing's system can sometimes be very, very baffling. But with all that being said, finally under caution here for the first time here tonight on lap 79 of 100, a bunch of cars down pit road. It's basically all the leaders. So some guys are going to go for tires and maybe some fuel if they didn't fuel earlier on. It's either that or a top up, depending on when they came in. If they had come in just a couple laps before that caution, then sure, but regardless of anything, this is going to rack everybody back up, and we are going to have I'd say just under a 20-lap shootout to solve this one. If you want to go ahead and make your random pick, be my guest, it's probably not going to be correct. Although, with that being said, we have seen our consistent drivers up front. We've had Charlie Sears up front, William Kern. There was Corbin McCauley at one point, but now he's 8 laps down. He is still in his pit box, almost 6 minutes in there. Jared Ireland has crawled his way up towards the front and made his way into the battle for the win. And just judging off of where everybody is right now compared to where everybody qualified, Magram started on the pole. He's currently in 4th. Jason Heaney started 2nd. He's back in 16th at a lap down. Bradley Sexton started 3rd. He is currently in 5th. Andy Hertel started 4th. He's back in 14th. He's a lap down. Macaulay obviously started 5th, and he's back out on the track now to try and at least salvage a couple of points, trying to finish this race in some capacity. Jose Mercado started 6th. He's still 6th. Bryce Fontaine is a lap down. He started 7th. Jared Ireland's in the lead. He qualified 8th. William Kern started 9th. He's in 11th. He's trying to make his way back around to the rest of the field. And I guess to round out the top 10 for qualifying results, Hunter Young is currently 7th. He started 10th. Kyle Knoll started 14th, and then now he's in 2nd. Remember, I've said a couple times here tonight, Charlie Sears started back in 16th. He's currently 3rd. And I'm judging off of the iRacing pace car that we are going green this time. The lights are off. So that's going to mean that Jared Ireland, the number 13 Central Flyaway Racing IR18 at Colby, Kansas, is going to lead this field back to green. Everybody going to the high line. He's going to lead the charge ahead of Storm Surge Esports' Kyle Nolan of Middlesex, North Carolina, and your reigning series champion, Charlie Sears, for 499 Racing out of Charlottesville, Virginia. Green flag flies, 20 laps to go. Lots of separation to start off between these guys here. There's about almost 6 seconds between 1st and 13th. But just you wait a couple laps, these guys are going to get racked back up together in a pack. Man, oh man, Nolan Ireland were close down the backstretch. Ireland leads that one. Noel to the high side. Charlie Sears speeding his way up towards the top 2. Ireland almost got tight. He manages to keep himself on the inside as Sears dives underneath. Kyle Noel, he's going to go to the middle. It's 3 wide for the lead once again. Bradley Sexton looking to get within the mix. So is your pole sitter, CD Magram. And awesome to see Jordy Carragher tuned in here. Obviously not able to be color commentating here. Oh, Magram! Contact! He goes around! Down the front stretch grass. Into victory lane. Backs it back out onto the track. No caution. Really? And we got Nick Ebby. I believe that's how you're saying your name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Cheering on Stephen Ellis for the win. He's in 5th. Do not count him out. But somehow what happened there with Magram did not result in the caution. We're still green. Almost 3 wide for the lead. Bradley Sexton. Charlie Sears and Stephen Ellis for 499 Racing. All 3 cars within the top 5. Sexton looking for his first career win on the ovals. Sears looking for his first win since last season. Ellis looking for his first career win altogether. So even when we're on the ovals, it's all 3 499 racing cars coming together. The past couple of races have certainly not been in favor of having all 3 of them at the end. Back at Texas and Pocono, but now they're all here together, going at it, duking it out for the victory here in the first annual Forked River 200. It's Jared Ireland leading the way, looking for his first win of the season. And this would be his second career. Oh, trouble! He goes around! Contact! Big crash, turn 4! Caution! Multiple cars getting caught up in this one. Up and over goes one of them. That's Fontaine. It's the big one in turn 4. A chain reaction with 15 laps to go. So I said earlier, something like that was inevitable. It happened pretty damn quickly. Yeah, just go off of Will Ferrell. That escalated pretty quickly. I don't know what Darcy Ford's doing. Trying to make it back to his pit box in some capacity. But man, oh man, so much happened there that I wasn't able to fully talk into that one. But the big one happens in turn number 4 as the cars, I believe, are approaching 15 laps to go. So we're going to skip it back here to the backstretch. I don't know if this was the lap before. This is still the same lap. Okay, no, we're going to have to go to the next lap. But as you see there, we're going to speed it up just a little bit to get back to what just happened here. It was Ireland versus Sears going at it. So we'll see here what happened. Oh yeah, both left side tires there just underneath the yellow line. It easily was going to send that car around, and then they pile in, and man, oh man, Bryce Fontaine up in the air. He had nowhere to go. I mean, that entire pack right there, all over your screen, had literally nowhere to go. Oh, one car about avoided it perfectly, but then they got hit on the right rear. But a wicked crash here in turn number 4 that initially, again, it only collected 3 cars, as again with Ireland, you see here, yeah, left side tires underneath the apron, then gets hit hard from behind by Sexton and Mercado, and then they just pile in. Complete trash heap. Riding on board with Fontaine. And so as the screen goes black because he's upside down. Nope. Yep, there you go. Yep. His oval luck continues to remain abysmal. Man, oh man. It's not gonna, the third time's not the charm here in Michigan. But man, oh man, that is just tragic, especially too, like he was running up front, he kind of fell back in there after that, around the halfway point or so. He was starting to make his way back up. Definitely was going to be an underdog for the win. But yet again, another oval race that strikes against him. Yes, as he said there, cannot make it up. You got to feel bad for the driver of the number 22 out of Laverne, Tennessee. Just not able to get on the same level as William Kern. So, Hyperdrive Esports remains victorious for one driver, but for the other one, they just cannot catch a break on the ovals. Next up for him will be the Indianapolis 500, so again, the fingers will be crossed there. Jordy Carraher saying Jesus, of course. And also, okay, it's Nick Eby. Good to know. Good to know, Nick. But anyways, it's time for another late shootout. 12 laps to go now. It's Charlie Sears leading the way. Top two is 499 Racing. And then Bradley Sexton, of course, more than likely out of the race as he got collected in that one. So, unfortunately, his oval luck is going to also remain a little eh. Again, he did get the podium finish back at Texas, but then Pocono, we got 11th. So, it looks like the AJ Foyt Cup is not really going to go in his favor tonight. And yet again, as I was saying earlier, all three 499 racing cars together, finally, they could be together to finally finish a race together on the ovals, since Stephen Ellis is only committed to the ovals. But nope, it's right back to just two cars. It's going to be Charlie Sears versus Stephen Ellis going for the win. One driver, a reigning champion, looking for his first win since last season in the finale. But hasn't won here through 6 rounds of Season 3 so far. Meanwhile, Stephen Ellis looking for a first career win. Kyle Knoll also looking to do the same as well. He has been an underdog here for quite some time between NASCAR and IndyCar. And man, oh man, what a win that would be for the Storm Surge Esports driver. Out of Middlesex, North Carolina. Hunter Young in behind them as well. He's always a driver that, especially when it comes to races that are kind of like super speedways, he's always there within the mix. Again, remember back in the NASCAR series, some time ago, he won at Talladega Super Speedway. Won his way into the playoffs. So when it comes to these kind of races, he's always a guy to keep an eye on when it comes to the end and when all the carnage comes through and such. And the funny thing is, with all that being said, we don't even have half the field left in this. I believe we only have 9, 10, 11 cars left on the track. Macaulay and Heaney are both 8 laps, or excuse me, it's just Macaulay 8 laps down. I think it's actually just 10 then. I probably shouldn't have counted Heaney. Or should I? Nope, okay. Leaderboard's being a little bit weird with me. But anyways, 8 laps to go as the... Good God, the fog. The fog is coming. I think Corbin McCauley would recognize what I'm saying there. But man, oh man, is it... I just heard that. And man, oh man, is it ever foggy here in Michigan. What else is new? We've been having iRacing system being weird with the automatic cautions. We had the big one eliminate about over half the field. Now we have the fog brewing coming in. No, we're not going to have a Chris Busch or Pocono happen again. And you know what? The funny thing is, because about half the field or so wrecked there, McCauley might be in for a top 10 finish. I don't know how that happened. but miracles. We'll put it that way. As man, oh man, are they racing ever tight for the top spot. Oh, Ellis is going to barely sneak in underneath Sears for the top position. Marini up the track, contact with Kyle Knoll. They keep it going. It's a 6-car pack, but it's 5 cars going for the win now with 5 laps to go. Can another 499 Racing driver go to victory lane? Can CD Magram win this race from the pole? Can Kyle Knoll steal a win? Jordan Kalenian possibly still within the mix too. Here comes Sears in the middle. Ever so tight racing on the bottom and in the middle. Off of 4. These two are going to be going at it here. It would not shock me whatsoever if these two actually managed to get together. The competition is ever so fierce. CD Magram waiting to count and to take advantage of possible misfortune of this top 2 or even try to pass the both of them. Sears to the middle, or kind of the high, or tie, whatever, however you want to put it. He stays in back behind. It's Ellis versus Sears down the front stretch. Who is going to lead this one? It's Sears at the line, but that's not the checker flag just yet. We still have 3 laps to go. Look at these runs from the other cars here within the top 5. Magram, Kalenian, and Knoll. They're 3 wide for 3rd. Sears with an aggressive move up high against Ellis, side by side, down the backstretch. Oh man, aggressive action there from Knoll, up high. Off of 4, they're going to be coming to 2 laps to go. Can Knoll get the run here? Try to get past the 3 of these guys. 3 wide going into 1. This is about to be a dandy of a finish if we're even going to be able to fully see with all this fog over Michigan International Speedway. Ellis on the inside, Sears back to the middle, Knoll up high. Who out of these 3 is going to get the job done? Could Magram or Kalenian steal this one out of any of their hands? Finally, we're going to have a race come down to the wire to the checker flag, white flag in the air. Final lap here at Michigan International Speedway. It's 499 Racing going at it for the win. Ellis down low, Sears up high. CD Magram trying to dive underneath Sears. Almost squeezing behind Ellis. Up to the middle. Side by side for 3rd. 4 cars, a blanket over 5 of them is Kalenian trying to get within the mix. Who of these 5 is going to go to victory lane in the first annual Forked River 200? It's going to be a drag race, side by side, to the line. Who's going to get the line? Who's going to get it? Steven Ellis! By just barely! His first career win in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network and the IndyCar Series. How about that? The 3rd time's the charm, the first 2 oval races, end under caution. And now, here at Michigan, round 3 of the AJ Foyt Cup, we end this at the checkered flag, under green, and it's Steven Ellis. Redemption from 2 weeks ago at Pocono Raceway. He is going to victory lane for the first time. How about that? And I can only imagine how pumped up he is going to be as he does some burnouts here while Charlie Sears and CD Magram line up as the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. But Steven Ellis, the first-year driver out of Mississauga, Ontario. After crashing out of Texas, falling short of the win under caution at Pocono. Now here in Michigan, he claims the ultimate redemption, exactly what he needed. And him, again, contending for the AJ Foyt Cup, the Oval Championship. This, no doubt, is going to severely help him in the points. He is currently 3rd. And with William Kern having crashed out in Indy Hertel, finishing in 7th, 1 lap down. I don't know how that's going to play out, but certainly Ellis is going to really catch his way up to the points lead. He might even take it. We may very well assume that. And a friendly reminder too, Ellis qualified 15th. Sears qualified 16th. 15th and 16th finished 1st and 2nd. And then the pole sitter rounding out the podium. Storylines for the ages, a race for the ages, a finish for the ages. Ellis burns it out in victory lane. That's where he's going to go here in the front stretch grass of the virtual Michigan International Speedway. Well deserved out of him. So Ellis joins Bradley Sexton as the next driver out of 499 Racing to go to victory lane here in Season 3 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series. We have now had 3 first-time winners within 7 races. That's Bradley Sexton, William Kern, and Stephen Ellis. And yes, completely agree with Ty Higginbottom in the chat. What a race. I had it deep down in my gut. I had it deep down that we had over 70... Well, he finally blew the motor. Over 70 laps or so of green flag racing. Then we finally had a caution. Racks everybody back up. And then a fatal error caused a chain reaction. About half the field eliminated. And then we had that finish all the way to the checker flag without any caution. We were able to end it under green at the proper checker flag at the scheduled distance. Nick Eby calling the Stephen Ellis win. I'm sure you did. Ellis for the win. He certainly got the job done. But before we interview the man himself, of course, let's go through the unofficial results here of tonight's first annual Forked Over 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Of course, Stephen Ellis claiming his first career win. Charlie Sears, CD Mangrum rounding out the podium. That's a 1-2 there for 499 Racing. And then your pole sitter in tonight's race, CD Mangrum, rounding out the podium, finally kind of turning around a little bit of the poor luck that he's had in a couple of the recent weeks. Kyle Knoll, Jordan Kalenian rounding out the top 5. Mark Ouellette took advantage of everything that happened here tonight, all that misfortune of about half the field within the closing last 20 laps or so, and he finished 6th, final car in the lead lap. How about that? That's going to really do something well for him about middle to bottom of the points or so. I would imagine for both the Greg Moore points, the Greg Moore Cup points, and the AJ Foyt Cup points. Andy Hertel, first car a lap down in 7th. Mike Marini, Hunter Young, and Corbin McCauley rounding out the top 10. And again for Corbin McCauley, that crash he had down the front stretch after that contact, that little bit of an awkward situation with the lap car that got back in the lead lap of Andy Hertel and then second place in behind a William Kern. It looked as though he was going to get no points. His race was pretty much done there and over. He was able to get back in, but again, multiple laps down. And then pretty much half the field eliminated, and he goes up, and he claims a top 10 finish out of that. Man, oh man, all I'm going to say to the bro is miracles can truly happen. Jason Butler, okay, the numbers decide to mess around with me. Daniel Cudmore finished. What in the world? Okay, we're going to go off the leaderboard that I have here, not the one on the main screen, the one on the other screen. Jason Butler was the actual 11th place finisher. Darcy Ford in 12th. Daniel Cudmore finishes 13th. Bradley Sexton 14th. Jose Mercado actually got 15th. Jared Ireland 16th. William Kern is 17th. Jason Heaney 18th. And Bryce Fontaine rounds out this 19 car field. I'm just going to straight up say literally everything happened here tonight. That was by far Talladega on steroids. Bryce Fontaine getting in the air, the big one. iRacing not throwing cautions, and then whatever. Finally, we did have that caution. Finally. And then the fog comes down. And then that finish that we just had. And now, with all that being said, it's time to talk to the man who took advantage of everything, made his way from 15th to 1st, and barely held off his teammate and reigning series champion Charlie Sears for the win. in this first ever IndyCar Series race at Michigan International Speedway. So let's try to get in here and have a word with him for the first time. Stephen Ellis, this is Regan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Loud and clear.
I think the best way I can put that is, I said before the race, Talladega on steroids, Daytona on steroids, pretty much super speedways on steroids for the Dallar IR18s. I can only imagine you can agree to that to some extent, but to professionally put it, your first career win here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Of course, you've been committing to the ovals instead of the road and street courses. You're trying to go for that AJ Foyt Cup, of course, with all the commitments that you're dealing with on and off the track. But here on the ovals, finally you get that redemption after crashing out at Texas and then falling just short of William Kern at Pocono when the race ended under caution. Finally, a race that gets to the checker flag under green, and it was a finish for the ages, and you beat your teammate and the reigning series champion. How about that? Talk about what's going through your mind right now.
This is the race I was circling on the calendar the most when I joined, because this is the one I've probably done the most laps in this car on ovals in iRacing. So this was exciting, and it was fun, coming up with strategy with Charlie. If we went green the whole way, he was going to be the best on fuel by far, I think, in the entire field. And really sucks to see what happened to Brad, because he had really good pace. But I think today it was just, stay out of trouble. I didn't really get up to the front till that last run, and it was just making sure I didn't get hit and nobody hit me and everything like that. And for the longest time, it was like I was trying to make that high lane work. But eventually when I got to the bottom under Charlie, I just said, okay, I can't move. I got to stay down here if I'm going to win this race, and it paid off. But that was one heck of a finish.
Absolutely, it was, and just knowing how it all played out, it was, I believe my memory serves correctly, like a 12-lap shootout or so after the big one in Turn 4 that obviously you were lucky to be ahead of everything that, or you got beyond it when Hertel spun down there on the inside with the lead, and you were able to be far away from that after Ireland spun initially in front of you, but just talk about what was going through your mind, what your heart rate was really at in that final shootout when you had to defend off of Charlie Sears, C.D. Mangrum, Kyle Nolan, Jordan Kalenian for the win. Like, did you really think that you were going to be the one to come out of there in the top spot and getting the job done?
I knew if I put myself in the right spot, it'd be able to work, but getting to the right spot was difficult. I tried for a good 5 or 6 laps to try to get anything on Charlie, and I couldn't. It just wasn't working, and I knew that there was going to be a good run there, whether it be CD, whether it be Kyle, whether it be Jordan or Mark. Really good to see him have a good finish too. And knowing that any of those guys trying to make it work on the high lane, it was going to be tough to defend that. So I had to make the move when I did. I know, in some IndyCar races, you want to make the move at the last possible second, so they can't pass you back. But here, I think it's a bit more of like you just got to have that positioning you want. So it was difficult, but also my Discord crashed in the middle. I was trying to communicate with Charlie what I was trying to do, and everything was coming back to him 30 seconds later, so that didn't help. But I think that was it was an awesome group. These are awesome guys to race with. I think the fact that we ran as long as we did on the first run without any issues, going 3 wide, going 4 wide. I was 5 wide at one point at lap 4 or 5. I think, that shows that, everyone who came here to race, and I thought it was great.
And as you say, great group. Obviously, that attests to that is a test to everybody. But that group, the certain group that you're within, that 499 Racing with Bradley Sexton and Charlie Sears, the defending Greg Moore Cup champion and the driver that's been undefeated in the Mario Andretti Cup so far, with 4 for 4 on the road and street courses. What does it mean to be with those guys, with that group, with such talented drivers like yourself as well, to start off your Canadian E-Motorsports Network career, having them as mentors and friends, having them by your side for whenever you can race here within the network, for all the oval races that you can? What does it mean to be with them here to start off your career here?
It's awesome. I've gone to to race with them in a lot of endurance stuff. We just won Petit Le Mans, Brad and I, over the weekend, and Charlie and I have won a bunch of races together in the endurance. So this was kind of the first chance for me to join them on, single-seater things and go from there. And, I think what's been awesome is just kind of learning what they're doing. Charlie's got some fantastic fuel save strategies. We obviously see what Brad's able to do every single race and the stuff he pulls off. And I'm just glad I finally, got to beat them in a meaningful way. And I know it's been kind of an American showcase, but kind of wanted to show that Canada can win here.
Absolutely. I mean, every single race in the past couple of weeks where we've had to talk about the Nations Cup, certainly it's been quite lopsided, but still you're able to proudly represent Canada regardless, and you did so here tonight, obviously. And yeah, you mentioned the Le Mans win. Then you win here tonight, your first career Canadian E-Motorsports Network win. I believe you got married recently too, so life's good, right?
Yeah, can't complain about it. Life's good, and she doesn't care one bit that I've just spent, 2 hours doing an online race. She didn't care one bit that I won Petit Le Mans this weekend. So, it's been good. Our cat's been sitting outside the door kind of wanting to watch, I guess. But, can't complain. It's life's good right now, and hockey season's on. That's kind of the day job, so it's going to be a lot of fun seeing how the rest of the season goes there. But it's been good, and I'm really hoping to compete for a championship in the Oval Series.
Absolutely, no doubt you're going to keep doing that. And now, for this Oval Series, of course, too, the next race is going to be none other than the Indianapolis 500. How are you looking forward to that one being the next race too? The next challenge to take on here. It's going to be the full distance race. It's no longer the Indy 250 that we've had. It's going to be the Indianapolis 500. How are you looking forward to that one within a couple of weeks?
It's hard to beat that as one of the premier events to do in iRacing. I got to win the official one a couple years ago. That was cool. I got to race the actual Mario Andretti in the league a couple of years ago, and I passed him for a win, so that was cool. And I think, it's a track I love, a car combination I love. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's, we saw this race. It was a lot of strategy, a lot of timing your moves right. I think, the guys who have the best strategies are the ones that's going to win that Indy 500. So I can't wait.
And we can't wait either. And with all that being said, now this is your first time talking with us, of course, your first career win. So for the first time, who would you like to thank for being able to come on out for every Tuesday night oval race and get the job done?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Nick from 499 Racing for putting everything together. Brendan Madonia, guy that I've raced with for years, and he taught me a lot of what to do in the Indy cars. Obviously, Charlie and Brad, great teammates. And I'll give a shout out to Jordan Buster. He's a NASCAR spotter. And also give a shout out to who else? Stickers and Scuffs podcast. So some cool people there.
Appreciate that very much, obviously. But yes, everybody that just heard it from there, Ellis, a former iRacing official Indianapolis 500 winner, beat Mario Andretti at 1.2. Clip that. Keep that in mind when the Indianapolis 500 comes around in a couple of weeks' time. The next race, round number 4 of 8 for the AJ Foyt Cup. But with all that being said, that does it for this post-race winner interview with the driver of the number 46 499 Racing Dallara IR18 out to Mississauga, Ontario. His first career win in the first annual Forked River 200 at Michigan International Speedway. History in the making all over the place. Stephen Ellis, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you back in a couple of weeks' time for the Indianapolis 500.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
And so that wraps up that post-race winner interview right there. And again, the best I can say at this point is, wow, what a show that was. It took a lot of patience within about the first 60 to 70 laps or so until we finally had that first incident-related caution. iRacing finally triggered an automatic yellow. And then we had the big one. Lots of airtime, lots of cars piling in, about half the field eliminated. And then we had that 12-lap or so shootout. And we had a photo finish for the ages. 5 cars, put a blanket over them, duking it out within those closing laps, and it was Stephen Ellis that came out on top for his first career win, joining Bradley Sexton as the next winner out of the 499 Racing. shop. And so, after all of that action that we saw here tonight, the virtual Michigan International Speedway, we now move on to the race that is going to officially mark halfway through the 2024 Canadian E-Motorsports Network IndyCar Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue on iRacing. Round number 8 of 16, and it's also going to be 3, 4, 5. Round number 5 of the Mario Andretti Cup, the Road and Street Course Championship, the GSGSG 112. Takes us to Road America for 28 laps and 112 miles on Tuesday, October 29th, next week. Right back to the qualifying format of the best lap in 15 minutes. Charlie Sears, your defending winner, the reigning series champion and the reigning GSGSG 112 winner at Road America. Can he get 499 Racing yet another victory and make it all 3 drivers going to victory lane here in Season 3 of the IndyCar Series? Sexton and Ellis have been to victory lane. Sears, can he finally get the job done? And obviously, might as well go to the second half here of the schedule as well. And this is where we're going to start going off of after next week, of course, with the Mid-Ohio 90, round number 9, and Indianapolis 500 qualifying right after. So the Canadian E-Motorsports Network Indianapolis 500 is going to be our next oval race. The next one for the AJ Foyt Cup, that is going to be round number 4 on November 12th. Darcy Ford being the defending winner of that race, the 250 last year. But thus, with all of that being said, that does it for tonight's live production here within the Canadian E-Motorsports Network on iRacing here on our YouTube channel. That was the first annual Forked River 200 at Michigan International Speedway. Stephen Ellis, the driver of the number 46 499 racing car out of Mississauga, Ontario, going to victory lane for the first time in his Canadian E-Motorsports Network career. Congratulations to him once again, and a shout out to all the other 18 drivers that participated here in tonight's wild action here. One of the best we've ever seen in the history of the IndyCar Series. So on behalf of the Canadian Motorsports Network Competition Committee, Jordy Carher, who was with us in spirit, of course, from, was initially from the other side of the country, but now that's going to be a different story when he comes back. Been here since the very beginning. All other drivers, staff, sponsors, everybody involved in making this happen every single Tuesday night. My name is Regan McCauley out of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching, listening, and tuning in to tonight's action, round number 7 of 16 for the 2024 Greg Moore Cup. We will see you all next week for the GSGSG 112 at Road America on Tuesday, October 29th. Thank you all very much once again. Take care, speed safely, have a good one.